Time once again for a segment we call Similar Yet Completely Different. Tonight's theme, daytime talk show giveaways. Take a look.
Audience to go home with a little bit of View history too. So you're all getting this 3000th show View t-shirt.
It's Monday, September 27th, coming up live on The View. Kick off your week with a full show of the hottest topics on TV. From Katy Perry bouncing back after getting the boot from Sesame Street, to whether the founder of Facebook donated $100 million just to save face, and the news anchor's shocking live confession that he was molested as a child. And Entourage star Adrian Grenier is telling you if following around a teenage paparazzo who started snapping celebs at just 13 years old changed his view of star-chasing shutterbugs. Then, the shocking new movie Waiting for Superman exposes how most American schools are run so badly they produce more dropouts than success stories. But New York school chancellor Joel Klein has a lesson on saving your kid's school no parent can afford to miss. All that, hot topics and more, coming up live on The View.
Say something before. Yes, I think you should.
Did you just see Jay Leno?
Yes.
So, we love Jay Leno, and if we were not famous, he would make us famous, right?
Right.
But it is true that Oprah does send people to Australia and give them cars, and on a good day in The View, we give you a mug. But we're very cheap. But when they talked about the cupcakes that we gave away last week, and but we also gave away a 3D television.
$3,000 television.
We know that, Jay. HD TV.
This audience doesn't care because they didn't get it.
They got the same look on their face.
You know what, guys? If you're lucky, you'll get a book. We're happy you gave it.
We gave away milk one. We gave away milk.
Yeah.
I think
it was your
breast milk.
That was Elizabeth's milk.
Welcome to a day of hot topics on The View. You see, we're just, having our way with the world. I want to start on a personal note. Next week, the UN is going to give the job of official alien spacecraft greeter to Malaysian astrophysicist Mislan Othman, who is already the head of outer space affairs for the UN. I'm a little pissy about it. If aliens are coming, I feel that I could greet them. I think it would be fine. You see an alien, call, email me.
No, you're right. Anywhere. I would actually I was hoping they'd give the position to Nancy Pelosi, so.
No, Whoopi could actually do this. Whoopi, you can go through Central Park, you hear Whoopi's voice, you go to Disneyland, you hear Whoopi's voice.
And
I would expect to hear Whoopi's voice
I know
for aliens.
17 alien languages.
There you go. What's one of them? What's one of them?
I just greeted you.
A lot of people for a lot of years
who
have thought you are an alien.
I am an alien. I don't say I'm not. I would never, put my other roots aside. I talk about all that.
We all came on as aliens. Remember, you were at Televisia. Remember?
Yes. That was before our time.
Oh, I wasn't here.
No, before you were here.
You were in your other space.
And speaking of outer space, Carl Palladino is New York's Tea Party candidate for governor. And he's dealt with a few...
Well, there we go.
That was our warm-up guy clapping.
Yes. He's running, by the way, opposite Andrew Cuomo.
Right. Okay. And, he's had a couple of scandals. In April, he made headlines for sending out racist and sexually explicit emails. And latest is a 10-year-old love child he just told his wife about last year.
That we know of.
Yeah. But, it begs to wonder, If you're selling out, if you're not selling out, if you're sending out these kind of emails and he's not said he didn't. He said, yes, I did it.
He forwarded them.
Yes.
They are very racist. Right. They are very objectionable. Some of them are just plain vulgar.
Some of them, like there's one.
One is a woman having sex with a horse or something?
Yes, but then he's got a lot of the racist one. There's one of First Lady Michelle and President Barack Obama. They're dressed like a pimp in a hoe. Right. That he forwarded. There's one that goes around. It's popular amongst white supremacists, and it's a video entitled "Obama Inauguration Rehearsal," which shows a bunch of African tribesmen dancing.
Yeah, no, he didn't do it. His story is he didn't do it. He just forwarded it.
He forwarded it. But if you're getting a lot of, because I know I'm going to speak for myself. I get a lot of emails and jokes that are not very nice and they're very inappropriate. I look at them. I delete them. You know, when you decide to start forwarding them around for other people to see,
you're
and other people,
you are complicit.
I believe so.
It begs to differ. Are you a racist because you are forwarding them? You're not saying stop.
You don't forward something you completely disagree with.
That he could win if all his illegitimate children vote.
It's a really interesting situation because you don't, to your point, Sherry, unless you agree with something, you don't forward it on.
Right.
I would hope that people would even take the step further, too, and say, don't forward me this junk. Don't send it to me.
When you send it out to 10 other people, you know those 10 other people are probably going to send it out as well.
Times have changed so amazing. I remember when Ronald Reagan was running, there was criticism of him because even though he had been married for many years to the love of his life, Nancy, he had been married earlier. He was divorced. That was a big thing. I'm sorry, my earpiece just fell out. It wasn't my ear.
I was hoping it was an earring. I was like, I want your earring.
No. So here we are, where a man can run. The Tea Party is behind him. Conservative, supposedly caring.
And they continue to say that there's no racist elements.
Right.
That, you know.
And then you have a candidate like this who's running for governor. We have just gone so far that have we lost standards?
It's interesting, too, because his wife actually says that her mother used to say, like, forgiveness is divine. You know, human error is normal and forgiveness is divine.
After the baby.
They lost their son, and then it was a year after that he decided to tell his wife about the 10-year-old child that he had fathered.
She didn't seem to get too upset about it.
Okay, that's their personal business. And he may be, you know, now that he may just be a wonderful candidate.
But the fact that he's running for office.
I don't think he's a good candidate at all. If he's forwarding emails like that, and look, I'm on the other side of that ticket.
He's running for office, and do you want somebody like this running when you know that this may be their personal opinion?
Not at all.
Here's the thing.
Get off the ticket because I don't want to have to vote for him.
I don't care if he runs because that's every American's right. But I am going to be concerned if he wins, because if this is what we're looking at, and we're seeing a lot of different folks from the Tea Party sort of come up, and some of it we're making fun of, but some of it is kind of, you got to sort of take a step back. You know, the other Tea Partier in the headlines has been Delaware Senate candidate Christine O'Donnell. She used to be a guest on Bill Marzol's show, Politically Incorrect. And Bill says until she agrees to come on his show, his new show, Real Time, he's going to keep showing clips like these. Take a look.
Evolution is a myth, and even Darwin himself.
Evolution is a myth?
You know what?
Have you ever looked at a monkey?
Well, then why are monkeys still evolving into humans?
It takes a long time.
Himself.
Oh, God.
Wow.
You know what's happening? Evolution is going backwards, is what's happening.
No.
I mean, you have people like this who have these Neanderthal thoughts.
Wait a second.
And they're going to be
Like Sherry?
in the United States Senate.
Excuse
You're
me.
not running for office,
Defend
thank
your
God.
Neanderthal thought,
You know,
Sherry.
because I don't think, you know, I still say scientists have not found a missing link, a transitional thing that says, they're looking. They're looking, but you're going to say it's Neanderthal to say you don't believe in evolution. They're looking. The last thing that they had was a chimpanzee named Lucy that they thought, oh, she was the missing link, and then they find out, you know what, she's just a human. She wasn't a missing link. So to say that she's Neanderthal is not correct.
To say that why don't monkeys look like humans is so ignorant that my head is spinning
That's
from
not what
this.
she said. She says, why aren't they still evolving?
She will have to be around for the next billion years to find out.
Joy.
It doesn't happen overnight.
You know what I find?
And it has stopped.
Because you have to understand, too, that there are going to be people here, and thankfully we're in a country where you can believe different things about evolution and religion, etc. However, it does bother me that, you know, you have someone like Bill Maher, is that who this is doing this, right? Who is bullying someone to come on his show using clips and threatening them to release these. If you have information, and if your goal is to give the American people that information, put it all out front and don't use it to your own advantage, because this, to me, is nothing more than a personal game that he's playing
for you, Elizabeth? Ratings, okay?
You know, it's selfish, and quite honestly, it's narcissistic. I think if you have information that's going to help the American people, and those in Delaware, vote or not, based on this woman, put it all out there, Billy.
I kind of think that, you know, everyone is entitled to their opinion. It's absolutely right. But I do get concerned with some of the things that I've heard this young woman say, and I just have to say, like with Mr. Palladino, like with this young lady, really do your homework, because if these are the people you're going to put in power, you need to know where they actually really stand.
But you know there's a famous saying: you're entitled to your own opinion, but not to your own facts. Okay?
But, you know, in the final analysis, because we see right here great passion and great arguments, you do not believe in evolution, even though scientists...
they have not proved it.
Well, you know, they haven't proved
like you said, they're still
the existence of God. You have to have faith.
Exactly. You have to have
both sides.
And if you believe in evolution, God bless you. I don't believe in that. And I'm saying she's not ignorant because she doesn't.
Okay, but wait, just let me finish the one sentence that I was in the middle of.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Which I've already forgotten about. But when we see this kind of passion, you do have to examine, you do have to look at things closely, which is what we're doing, maybe with a little less anger. Okay, there you go.
That's what I said. But we'll be back with more hot topics. Katy Perry had her Sesame Street segment pulled after a leaked clip on the internet had parents claiming she was inappropriately dressed. But on the season premiere of SNL, Katy showed that Elmo is still close to her heart. Take a look.
Steve, how are you?
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
How's Joe Jr.?
Whoa, 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 Oh, my goodness.
Today's show is brought to you by the number 38 and the letter double D.
Yeah. No, honey, don't bounce.
Don't mind.
You gotta pull it.
Can I just say something? By the way, we just had a conversation during our station break. I want to get back to the evolution and how things have changed. Okay. Remind me the next time. Okay. Right. Did we have a picture of Katy Perry the way she looked on Sesame Street?
Yeah, that was
okay, very good.
In the green house.
Okay, now, what little child is going to be upset? You don't think that most children... But wait, why would she be pulled? This is supposed to be...
Because all the breastfed kids are running at the screen like, oh...
Okay,
because they've never seen their mommy dressed like that.
No, they look at that and they see lunch.
Exactly.
Not at that. They might see a snack there. That's not lunch.
This is supposed to be doing what to little children?
Well, in the case of my son Jeffrey, he's obsessed with boobs. And
why?
But he wouldn't see anything.
That is shocking, Sherry.
No idea.
Has he ever seen you in a bra and more?
Absolutely.
So then why would
Katy
this
Perry's
bother
not his
him?
mother. Okay, I'm his mother. But the thing about it is
why would that bother him?
Because I think, you know what, it might be a little inappropriate for Sesame Street. Jeffrey's now, he would look at that and he'd be looking at her boobs. I don't know, for me, that's not what he needs to be seeing at this time. If it's okay for some parents, that's fine. But everybody says to me, you know, Sherry, at 9 o'clock, make sure that he's not watching TV because that's adult hour. I trust Sesame Street to deliver stuff that is appropriate for my son. You know, I don't bother y'all at 9 o'clock at night.
Why?
If your son looks at you, can say, you see, she has boobs, pretty boobs, just like mommy.
No, that's not the conversation I want to be having. The problem is, she has pretty boobs.
Yeah, size A cup. Pretty soon they'll evolve into double Ds.
That's not, just so you know, this is not how I would choose to teach my kids the alphabet, okay? Like, not through cup size. And I think why try to get as close to the line of wrong as possible is what's going on here. How close can we get until we've gone over?
What is next?
On Sesame Street.
What is next on Sesame Street if you have something like that? I don't
worry
know.
about what's next. Just criticize what's on.
But I'm his mother, so I have to worry about this kind of stuff. And
you know, they should put me on that show, and they could say one of these things is not like the other, because one is bigger than the other.
if you are home with your preschool child, take a look at Joy and send the child into the other room.
Those are men. The thing that offends me is Katy Perry has perfect boobs.
Well, she's young. She should.
I know when I was young, one was a little bigger than the other. Wasn't
But so I just want to understand what was offensive. I'm not sure I understood.
I think they thought it was just a little inappropriate.
Does anyone disagree? She's like 3 centimeters away from a nipple just popping out. I think we all know, that's why we're talking about it here, that it's something that is a little borderline. Be it intentional or not, we'll never know. But
well,
why
we do know. I mean, we do know. Sesame Street is not. Yeah. Well, I was going to point out that Miss Piggy has quite a bit of cleavage, but and even though she's a puppet, even pigs have cleavage.
When you say that, it's like saying this.
But I find it sort of odd that parents didn't sort of recognize that Miss Piggy was wearing sort of a similar dress. But what do I know? You know, Georgia megachurch pastor Eddie Long vowed to fight allegations made by 4 young men accusing him of taking them on trips and seducing them. Now, Long's church counsels gay followers on ways to, quote, go straight. He's an outspoken opponent of gay marriage, and so now these allegations have come forth, and you know, some people saying, yes, I think something happened. Some are saying, no, I don't think something happened.
Well, you know, he had 2 accusers who were in his, it's called Longfellow's Youth Academy, who accused him of luring them into sex, and then there was a third one that came forth, and then there's a 4th one who doesn't even know the 3, who came from a separate offshoot church of his, and said the same thing. Now, he said Sunday at his church that he's fighting the allegations, that's not him. I'm going to speak to this because I think neither one of the sides have had their day in court, the young men that have accused and Bishop Eddie Long. The thing that concerns me as a single mother, an African-American woman, who don't have a lot of mentors in my son's life. I think this sets it up for, you know, you got women who would grasp at a mentor coming into their son's life, but now now I'm going, is there an ulterior motive?
You also have
Every man that comes into my son's life, I'm leery as it is, but I think there's a lot of women, like one accuser said he was taken to Kenya, and this is where the sex occurred.
They also have to look at the age of consent, and this is Georgia, right?
16,
which is 16, which to me seems absurd, and I think that they need to reevaluate that because it indeed doesn't protect those that are still young. I don't know. I mean,
can I get just beyond this one?
It's 16 in Georgia.
Whether he's a mentor for you or whatever. We had a similar case with Ted Haggett a few years ago, whom I remember interviewing, who was the head of one of the biggest evangelical churches in the country, and his marriage has stayed the same, and he's said he's now straight. What troubles me the most is the hypocrisy of it. And I think that's something that's terribly disturbing. We've been talking this whole morning somehow or other about what goes behind the actions that people have. Let's hope somehow or other this gets resolved. It's one church, but the hypocrisy of it is what troubles me.
We should just assume that anybody who is rabidly anti-gay is gay. No, I mean, it's coming out like crazy. Politicians who are rabidly anti-gay have someone on the side. Pastors who are rabidly anti-gay have someone on the side.
Because CNN's Don Lemon was interviewing church followers who were defending Pastor Long, and he made a shockingly candid confession. Please.
Let's say this.
Bishop is known to be a mentor to young men, and I feel that him having interaction with this young man or watching TV with him is nothing. I don't feel that it was anything with a negative intention behind that.
Let me tell you what got my attention about this, and I've never admitted this on television. I am a victim of a pedophile when I was a kid, someone who was much older than me. And those are the things that they do. The language, this doesn't make you gay if you do this. So when someone starts to say that, you start to perk up and go, oh.
So he...
Very difficult moment for him.
So the question, there's several questions that come up. So did he cross a journalistic line by sort of inserting himself in the story? Is that something you want to know about, that other people are going through the same thing?
I think it seemed like this hit him emotionally and in such a visceral place that he made this comment. And like he said, especially, he said those are buzzwords that men use to prey on young people, and this is what happened to me.
Well, I think these days more and more journalists are also discussing private aspects of their life. I tried very hard to keep the two aspects of mine.
Yes, but we keep dragging you back.
You keep dragging me back. And it was obviously a very emotional moment. And it shows again what he is talking about. This was someone who was his mentor. Again, the hypocrisy of it.
Talking about the subject also, maybe for full disclosure, he needed to say it.
We will keep talking about this because I have a funny feeling this story isn't going anywhere. We will be right back with more Hot Topics. We wanted to send our condolences to our friend Carrie Fisher, whose father, Eddie Fisher, passed away on Wednesday at 82, because she's been a good friend to us and makes us laugh a lot, and we love Carrie, and so we wanted to extend our sympathies.
Right.
Now, Lindsay Lohan has had quite a weekend.
The audience does well again.
Now, on Friday, she was ordered to jail without bail until her sentencing on October 22nd. She appealed and was released on bail. Now TMZ reports she's about to return to rehab.
This girl gives rehab a bad name, I'll tell you. I don't know how anybody can take rehab serious and the court system seriously when this woman is constantly in and out and in and out. I mean, it's a joke.
You know, she tweeted, one of her tweets said, "Regrettably, I did in fact fail my most recent drug test, and if I'm asked, I am prepared to appear before Judge Fox next week as a result." This was last week. She got out on like $300,000. She posted a $300,000 bail. It's like, when does the hammer crack down and the chances stop?
Well, you know, two things about this. Number one, we don't know what her sentencing is going to be. She may not be allowed by the court to go into rehab. But the other thing about rehab, because we've all, well, maybe we haven't all, but I've had experience with people who've been in it. It really takes a very long time. It's not 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. And if she's going into rehab, then the court has to say, I don't know what, a year, even 2 years.
Well,
this is a very sick girl who admits that it's a disease, and she's young enough to combat this disease. But it's not like we go in, we go out. Even 6 months in jail, that's not going to help her.
You have to wonder why.
There really has to be a long period. People do not understand what real rehab is, because, as you say, there's too much making fun of it.
Why are they letting her, like, I just don't understand, even on an emotional level, be it her attorneys or the system, why they continue to feed her back to the fire. I feel like she needs help. It's obviously been cry after cry for help, but to not allow her the ability to fully recover, as you say, Barbara, seems as though they are just letting her be a sacrificial.
You know, the thing with junkies and dope fiends and alcoholics, and I can say this having been one, is that, you know, some days you really feel like, yeah, I'm going to clean up, I'm going to stop. It's like stopping cigarettes or stopping alcohol. You say, today I'm going to die. And then at the end of the day, it's like, wow, you know, maybe today was... Well, yes, but that's why it's got to... Yeah, that's why, you know, be glad she's recognized, that she has recognized, because I don't think I've heard her say before this
time. She did. She tweeted that.
I know some things. I get it now.
Yeah, but they're not meeting her halfway, saying, you know, we're going to help you now.
You can't meet junkies halfway. You have to, the junkie has to make the decision, because people will bring you to rehab and you stay for 26 seconds and then you get out. She's decided she wants it now.
Okay,
so
but
maybe
that's what I said. It has to be a prolonged period. It cannot just be what you're saying.
No, it has to be her decision, is what I'm saying. It has to be...
but now that it is her decision, it has to be a prolonged period. You can't play with rehab, as so many people have.
But even if they say it's prolonged, she can say, I'm ready to check out. Correct?
Right,
is that
she keeps checking
out.
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that she is really seeing what this is now, because, you know, it's... You can fool around with this, and then on the wrong day, you OD or you kill yourself. That's right. So let's hope that this takes now. We keep our fingers crossed. You know, when we come back, we're coming back with Entourage star Adrian Grenier, and he's taking us into the world of the teenage member of the Paparazzo.
paparazzi is public enemy #1, but in his new documentary, Teenage Paparazzo, Entourage star Adrian Grenier follows a kid who started snapping celebrities on the red carpet at just 13. Take a look.
I ran into a particularly unusual paparazzo.
Whoa! I got what paparazzi call sprayed by 10 or 15 flash shots by the kid. And I was completely shocked, of course. And he started running away. I said, hey, wait, come back. What was that all about? What are you doing? He said, paparazzi, dude. I was totally confused. I said, you're a paparazzi? He said, yeah. I said, how old are you? 13. 13 years old and you're a paparazzi? He said, yeah.
Now, this documentary...
Please welcome back.
Yeah. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Please welcome back Adrian Grenier. And I'm taking because you're so doggone fine, Adrian. I'm sorry.
She's taking it.
I am. But, you know, the documentary deals with the 13-year-old paparazzi photographer named Austin that you met. And he's like one of the most, he's a big one. Like, he's always at all of the red carpet events.
He's everywhere.
So
he's fast, so, you know.
I see when he was snapping all the time. Were you really shocked when you met him?
Well, I mean, look at him. I still am shocked. I look at him, he's so young. He's a baby-faced little boy. And he's out there with these guys twice his size with a camera, you know, he could barely hold up. And vying for the pictures.
And I mean, at all hours, which is interesting. And I know that you also followed and interviewed his mom, which I found to be fascinating, just because you want to know, like, what would... if you had a 13-year-old kid, would you allow him to go out 2 a.m. snapping photos like this? And we have a clip of that. Take a look.
There's always the question, well, don't you feel that he's a little young, or aren't you afraid that he's out there, or maybe this isn't, you know, there's a certain tone in almost everyone's voice.
I don't know. I mean, there's a fine line, especially at this age when kids are becoming adults, but they're not quite adults, and they still need guidance and protection.
I think you know your kid. You know your kid, and I know Austin, and I know what he's capable of, and I know his judgment, and I wouldn't let him go out into this environment if I didn't feel that he was capable of dealing with certain things.
What did you think of that? I mean,
by the way, is he homeschooled? He sleeps all day. When does he go to school?
He is homeschooled. He is. No, I mean, that's the first question I had. Where are your parents? And I'm sure you all had the same question.
Did you feel satisfied with her answer there?
Well, you know, I think I don't have kids, and I imagine it's very difficult. But there's no one parenting style, right? You have to improvise a lot. You have to go with the flow, and I do respect the fact that she's letting him embrace this drive that he has. And I don't think it's simple. It's not black and white.
It's kind of dangerous, though, some of this. I mean, aren't there laws like child labor laws or what happens with that?
Well, because he's an entrepreneur, because he's doing it of his own volition, he's allowed to do it. Because nobody else is telling him to do it, or he has no boss. He's his own boss. It's okay.
So his mom's not his boss.
How about child neglect? No. Does that fall into there at all?
Well, it could, I guess. And he has been, you know, talked to by the cops. Like, you know, at a certain hour, he's supposed to be accompanied by an adult.
You talked about different parenting styles, so we should point out that your mother and your father are in our audience. Mom, raise your hand. There you go. And Dad. Okay. But somebody raised you to be this good kid that you are. Your role as Vince and Entourage made you a celebrity. Paparazzis follow you. This is more than just this little boy. This is a look at paparazzi. And seeing the documentary, it seems to me that you're more sympathetic now towards the paparazzi.
Well, you know, I didn't want to make just another tabloid look at the paparazzi. I didn't want to do what they do to us, to them. I really wanted to go above that and reach out and try and find empathy and understand them.
Did you find empathy and understanding?
You know, I did.
These people who are pushing cameras in your face and screaming and yelling and...
Yeah, I did. And you know, one way I did that was I actually got a camera and I tried paparazziing myself.
You did?
I put myself in their shoes, and I got to see what it was like.
And it's all for money.
Well, yeah, it's all for money, but at the same time, they're not stuck behind a desk. They're out there having a great time.
You interview different celebrities, such as Whoopi, to find out how they feel about the paparazzi and all of the fame. What did you learn from talking to folks like Whoopi?
Well, you know, it was important for me to go to the wiser celebrities out there.
What did you say?
About the little boy, I said that I thought that if he wasn't going to become Annie Leibovitz, he might want to find a different job, because this is a real gig, and you know he's 17 now. I just wonder if he's seen it yet.
Yeah. Annie Leibovitz, the great photographer.
Yes, great photographer.
She was responding to the fact that he needed to hone his discipline, and he needed to, you know, in order for it to be sustainable, ultimately. It couldn't just be this throwaway thing. And I think there's value in that lesson, absolutely.
Well, Adrian, we thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, Adrian Grenier. Teenage Paparazzo premieres tonight on HBO. Check your local listings, and when we come back, find out how to save your child's school. Yes.
The most important thing in this country today is education, and it's something we're failing in. What can a parent do about their child's school? There is a very disturbing, much talked about documentary that just opened called Waiting for Superman, and it paints a grim picture of our educational system, even when a child wants to learn. Take a look.
I don't know what college I want to go to, but I know I want to be a teacher. I want to be a nurse. I want to be a doctor.
How come?
Because I would like to help somebody in need.
You wake up every morning and you know that kids are getting a really crappy education right now.
So you think that most of the kids here are getting a crappy education right now?
Oh, I don't think they are. I know they are.
Either the kids are getting stupider every year, or something is wrong in the education system.
Yeah. Okay, well, what is? We're going to try to find out what a parent can do right now from the man in charge of more public schools than anyone else in the country. He's the New York City School Chancellor, Joel Klein. Welcome, Chancellor.
Thank you.
So, this film has got a lot of people angry and upset, but it's something that you've been dealing with and very frustrated, and Michelle Ray, who is in charge of the Washington schools. In a ranking of 30 developed countries, our country ranks near the bottom in almost every category, right?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. When did this happen? Why did this happen?
This really started about 30 years ago, Barbara. It was a federal report, presidential report called A Nation at Risk, talked about a rising tide of mediocrity. In the last 30 years, we've doubled our investment in real dollars, and we're not getting any gains, and the rest of the world is moving behind us. This is our nation's future, and so I'm thrilled with Waiting for Superman. I want everybody to see it. I want all of us to talk about it and come together and fix it. All of these people got to be part of the solution.
What exactly happened 30 years ago? I'm not clear.
One major thing that happened, to be truthful, was people like you who used to teach. Now, thank God, you have many more opportunities in life. We used to get the greatest women in the world used to go into teaching. Now they're doing lots of other things. But we've got to make sure we attract the best people as teachers.
I went to college with so many great women. Only one went to law school in the 60s in my class. The rest were teachers and everything else, because and all these women now would be bankers, lawyers, doctors.
But it's a bigger problem than that. And one of the things, I mean, than just that they have more opportunity. One of the things that the documentary talks about, and it's received a lot of controversy, is that the whole business of tenure. That is, that even bad teachers can stay on and on and on and on and on. And the teachers' union is being blamed for the fact that we have these mediocre teachers, and then the kids get into their classes, and some of these children are heartbreaking. You know they're going to have no future. So is the problem tenure? And if so, how do you change it?
It's part of the problem. First of all, let's be clear. The teachers are the heroes in this thing. Before we deal with the teachers who aren't doing their job, let's salute the teachers who are doing their job. They're the heroes. Now,
we have several of them, by the way, in our audience today.
Well, God bless them. But let's also be real about this. Not everybody can be a great teacher. And if you can't, you don't want that person teaching your kid. And if you don't want them teaching your kid, you don't want it teaching any kid. So tenure protects those who either can't or won't teach well. We need to address that. Time and again, I've said to the teachers' unions, let's get real about this. In no other field do we keep people
talent like
on.
any other talent teaching? Though? You may not be able to get that many great teachers.
But I think that the idea that they would all be maybe compensated in the same way is also an issue that this film brings up. I think that it's also, as you said, it is a should see, not just a must see. It is a should see because there's a lot that needs to be done. You leave with the wind knocked out of you after seeing this. If you care about kids in general, you should see this film. What about the idea of merit pay, which is something that's brought up, with teachers getting paid based on incentives? I don't know if that means testing or what, in your opinion. Do you think that would help at all fixing the system?
It would help, yes. And look, what you want to do, and Joy said it, you want to incentivize greatness, right? That's what you want to be teaching. So look at a simple thing. I have to pay math teachers and science teachers the same as I pay my physical education teachers. As a result, I'm short math and science teachers. My kids in the 21st century need great math and science teachers. I want to pay more for math and science teachers. Otherwise, the kids in high-poverty neighborhoods, they're not going to get a good math teacher or a good science teacher. And in the 21st century, you don't have a great math or science teacher, you're in trouble.
And we're 11th in literacy, by the way, which is even more weird.
Zuckerberg, Facebook founder, he announced that he's going to give a $100 million grant to the Newark School District in New Jersey. Now, is that a good idea? Is money the answer?
Money by itself is not the answer, but yeah, it's a good idea. I actually met with Zuckerberg and I talked to him about giving the money to New York. He gave it to Newark. My friend Cory Booker is going to benefit. Yes. But look, take that $100 million and attract great teachers. Extend the day. What are we doing with a 7-hour day when we're going down globally? What are we doing with a 180-day school year? This is crazy.
Can I just add, while we still have time, there's so much more to go into. But what people are watching, parents are watching. What can they do? Can they partition their school to have longer classes or to have classes in the summer the way other countries do? What can a parent do?
3 things very quickly. First of all, get involved. You know, walk by the school, go mentor, go tutor. We need all hands on deck. Those kids, a lot of kids who are struggling, need help. Second of all, go on our website, www.schools.nyc.gov. and click on there. We've got ways to get people involved. And third of all, see this movie and click on their website, www.waitingforsuperman.com. Get involved. Prioritize this. Folks, the future of this nation depends on educating our kids. Let's make it happen.
Can we also suggest that parents get with the teachers and the teachers union and sit down and talk about making adjustments to what has always been? Because this idea that a bad teacher gets to stay no matter what, I find offensive and against the American way.
I'm with you. Look, that's what it's about. Let's get together. Let's have the open and honest discussion. The great teachers are America's heroes. Let's all of us remember that. Those that don't belong there, goodbye.
I'd love to go on. You're one of my heroes and a hero to a lot of people. You and Mayor Bloomberg. I know it's been a tough assignment. You've done your best. Our thanks to Chancellor Joel Klein. We want to tell you, we hope that you will see the movie, and everyone in our audience is going to get a copy of the book, Waiting for Superman. The film is now in theaters everywhere.
Everybody agrees. If you care about your kids, see this movie. Have a great day. Take a little time to enjoy the view. Bye.